This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Welcome to Heaving Bosoms, the podcast where two best friends recap romance novels while judging characters and jamming together. Hey, HBs. I'm loving this continuing series that we're doing lately. For example, this week on Patreon, you're getting more Puck Boys. Yeah, we recapped the first book, Egotistical Puck Boy, on the public feed, and then I proceeded to yell at Sabrina about books 2 through 6 after that on our bonus feed. This week, we're talking about books 7, 9, and 10 of the Puck Boy series by Eden Finley and Saxon James. Why are we skipping book 8, you ask? Well, watch this space and you just might get it. That's this Friday on Patreon and our Apple Podcast subscription. That's this Friday on the bonus feed. This week, BFF of the pod, Kiran, is here with Sabrina to recap Girls with Bad Reputations by Xio Axelrod. Sabrina and I recapped Girl with the Stars in Her Eyes in episodes 317 and 318, and we were so happy to come back to this messy rockstar universe. Here's part 1 of our recap of Girls with Bad Reputations by Xio Axelrod. Here we go.
Hey, listener, we are back with Sabrina's guest takeover that is kind of being sprinkled into July and August. We're here with friend of the pod, Kiran. Hello, Kiran. I feel like a little radio host right now. Hello.
like, hi, how are you? Can we play my new single?
Yeah, absolutely. We're here to see the top of the charts 200 Kiran single, Girls with Bad Reputations.
Yeah.
By Xio Axelrod. That's kind of not a joke, listener. We are, in fact, here to talk about the book Girls with Bad Reputations by Xio Axelrod. So, bless Kiran, I reached out when Mel was sick. And just for context, listener, when Mel was sick, to a bunch of my friends to be like, hey, who's up for coming on for an episode? And, you know, you've probably heard a couple of episodes now with me and some guests, but Kiran was like, hell yeah, I'll come on, and went looking through the back catalog to see, you know, a series that she'd be interested in reading, continuing to read, and gave me a little list of options. And I was like, oh my God, Girls with Bad Reputations. Like, obviously. Let's do this one.
Of course. It's so good.
It is so good. And I meant to re-listen to the first episode, because the first book is
A Girl with Stars in Her Eyes.
Yes. And so if you don't remember, listener, that is, in fact, a public episode. You can go find it in the back catalog. Mel and I fucking loved it. And it is, you know, it's a rock star romance told from points of views of an all-girl rock band. And it's amazing and also devastating.
It's so good. It's so beautifully done.
Yeah. And like, man, Xio Axelrod really knows how to like make a character just pop on page. You know what I mean? Like,
the fact that, like, I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, but like when we were doing this podcast, I went on her Instagram and just looked at some stuff, and it was like They had a website. They had a Tumblr. I guess they grew up in music. They grew up in a music. I guess she grew up like in a music family, touring and stuff. Like, I guess she is somehow related to Sister Sledge. Like, we are family. That song.
Shut the fuck up. What?
So in the back, she said like she uses all of that to like write these books, that knowledge that she has. And I guess she was a recording artist previously. So there's like songs that you can listen to, stuff. Like it goes in. I was like, this is very detailed. Amazing.
Oh my God. Okay. I'm going to have to go do a little bit of digging. Well, and you said that you had also like messaged her and you have confirmation that like she's going to do a book for all of the
She's doing a book for all the characters. I messaged her because I was like, listen, it's been a couple of years. I don't see anything on your, because I think this came out in like 2024. But I saw nothing on the Goodreads, which I know isn't always accurate. And I've read some of her other books and they're really good. Like all her books are pretty good. So I was like, what do you have? Do you have anything coming out? And she's like, yeah, I'm doing another one of these. I'm doing one for each Lily. And I'm currently in the middle of writing the third one. It's going to take a while, but it is coming.
Oh my God. I want to know who it is. It's got to be Tiff, right?
Tiff has got Tiff, and I feel like it might be Tiff and Jordan, but I don't know.
Okay, I was wondering the exact same thing.
My only thing is I know the fourth one is going to be Lily, and I feel like it's going to be Lily and Candy, and we'll get into it, but I loathe Candy.
Okay, so I think Mel and I even talked about how, like, there's no way that the fourth book is, like, it's not leading up to Lily and Candy. Like, there's going to be something. Candy's going to play a big part in Lily's book.
I'm sure
there's no
like
way.
Whoever Candy ends up with, and she has, like, a thing where she, like, has... Like, she did a thing about, like, her, for, like, Pride on her Instagram when I went and looked, and it was, like, her bi icons, and one was Ty from this book, and the other was Lily, so I don't know who she's going to end up with, but I feel like Candy's going to be the ex, but a part of me worries that Candy is going to be the ex.
So Mel and I were wondering if it was going to be, like, a redemption. We wondered the exact same thing that you're thinking, that it's going to be, like, some kind of redemption.
And we'll get into it, but after this, I was like, I do not like that girl.
Okay, same. Like, there's going to have... Candy's gonna have to put the work in.
We'll get there.
To be okay with it. So anyway, this is Kayla's book.
Yes.
And wow, I didn't really realize just how shut down Kayla was in the first book. Like, we don't really know anything about the rest of everybody, right?
No, we kind of like see them, but we don't learn a lot about them. We get like an idea of like they kind of embrace Tony as kind of like their family and they love her, but you don't really get into their inner workings of their lives a lot.
There's like maybe like hints dropped and things like that, which is why I kind of think Tiff is the next book, just because like we get some hints about Tiff's life, but we don't have anything.
No, but we learned some stuff about her past that I think is leading up to that. But yeah, like Kayla, I all I remember really is that she was very intelligent. Like they mentioned that she's a bit of a bookworm. She's the drummer and that she has freckles. That's literally all I remembered from the first book.
Yeah. That's more than I remembered. So here we go. Yeah. But yeah, so we open up with like the prologue opens up with like basically a flashback. And boy, we open up hot with some emotional shit because Kayla's actual like birth name is Catherine Yolanda Larrington.
Yes.
And we open up in a flashback and she is 15 years old at her brother's funeral. And it's devastating because we get that and a flashback of her like learning the drums with him,
and he clearly was like her best friend and like her person.
Everything.
And like the heart of their family.
Well, and it's like, oh man, yeah, so content warning, listener, if there's gonna be a lot of discussion of like dead siblings, parental challenges, like she has a really rough relationship with her mom.
Love interest lost both of his parents.
That too. Yep.
And he has some health challenges with his grandpa. The grandpa ends up okay.
We'll get there, but I was so terrified that Grandpa Van was dying at the end. Yeah. Like, I thought that's where we were going at, like, when all of the things go down, you know, especially after...
No, not Grandpa Van. We love him.
Yeah.
He's also only 75. He's not that old.
No, he's not. Like, what is... He's also so, like, spry. He, like, cooks and bakes and oh my god, so worrying.
Yeah.
But so we open it up, she has this, we have this like prologue where we're seeing her interact with her family, we're seeing her interact with her brother, and then we just pop right into the present day and the Lillies are at a festival.
Well, and I think that even though it's like short, the prologue does such a good job of setting up her family dynamics so quickly. Like, it does such a good job of, like, showing and not telling. You know that her mom is very, like, exacting. You know, there's a lot of pressure on her. You know, like, the death of her brother has left this toll. And, you know, her dad's, like, a sweetheart, but just kind of lets her mom lead the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm trying to remember, how does book one end as far as the Lillies as a band? Because you just reread it.
Yes, I believe it just ends with them beginning to record.
Okay. And like they just got picked up.
They're going on a tour, so they are touring a bunch of festivals. So it's just announced this is happening.
Okay. Yeah. So we open up this book with present day, and they are at a festival. Like, we're smack dab at the beginning of their tour. They're getting ready to, you know, go all over the country for 2 separate legs of festival touring, basically, which, man, that just sounds exhausting to me.
Many reasons, including my absolute tone deafness, being 39, having my own profession, etc., could never be a rock star for many reasons. And one of them is I could not handle different night every day. But I think they did a good job of, like, someone who has gone to a lot of festivals, of showing, like, okay, they're not top billing, they're kind of at the bottom, they're an up and coming band, they just got signed. Like, it kind of they're meeting all these other musicians and kind of forming connections. But
well, it's like, I feel like, and this is something, I've gone to some music festivals, and I know, like, a little bit of behind the scenes how that all works and things like that. And just really, it's kind of like any festival thing where, you know, you get the shitty spots, but really the most important part of a festival tour is, like, an up and coming anything, is like the networking involved.
Exactly, because you're there with everyone.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like their version of, like, a professional convention, you know?
And, you know, like, you get yourself in front of a lot of people who might be there to, like, see a bunch of other people, right? But, like I remember I went to a festival once to see Florence and the Machine, but, like, I saw Billie Eilish there and Dua Lipa, and this was before they, like, broke out. But I was like, oh, this is so cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they're at this thing, and she ends up getting a call from her mom, and basically turns out her dad is going to be retiring, and so there's this big work banquet thing that she has not RSVP'd to coming to yet, because, boy, it's going to be rough for her. This is going to be her first time going home in, like, 5 years, and they don't know about her being in a band. Her bandmates don't know about her family. Like, nobody knows about
her name.
Well, yeah, because, like, when somebody calls her Catherine for the first time, they're like, who's Catherine? And she's like,
she goes by Kayla. She even has a whole different name. She's kept these worlds super separate. And it's clearly an issue that she dropped out of college, but her parents don't even seem to know what she's doing for a living.
Well, and, like, boy, her mom, like, there's a lot with her mom. There's a lot of baggage for her as far as her mom and her relationship is concerned, because her mom is an extremely popular author.
And a professor.
And a professor, and very, very aware of being in this kind of world that her mother lives in, this academic world, very aware of the fact that she is a Black woman doing this. And also, like, a wealthy world, like, it's wealthy, collegiate, educated people. And so she is so extremely aware of how she is perceived and how the family is perceived, and how any minor upset could be the end of everything. It's a lot. There's so much pressure.
It's so much. And you could tell, like, the mom is not a bad person, but she is someone who, in her mind, thinks, like, this is her only way of keeping her child safe and in a good place. But it's, like, controlling, and I think she sees only one way to live.
Yeah. Well, and it made a lot more sense at the end, like, at the end of the book, and we'll dive more into this later. There is this kind of, like, clear the air, come to Jesus conversation that she and Kayla have that, okay, this makes it makes a little bit more sense. I still think that you did this in a real fucked up way, but like, I can see that this was done out of love. But, like, man, what a good example of, like, love's just not enough. You know, whether it's romantic, whether it's familial, whether it's platonic, like, whatever it is, like, love is not necessarily going to be enough to excuse certain actions.
Well, and it's even like, you know, how much your children are their own people and you can't control that.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe your reasons for trying to control that aren't like horrible, right? They aren't bigoted. They're out of love, but it's still not necessarily helping them.
Yeah. Well, and it's also like, I am just kind of suddenly making this connection, but part of the problem is that her mom started this series called Little Miss Yolanda. And if you remember, I just said that her name is Catherine Yolanda Larrington. Yes. And Little Miss Yolanda is basically kids' books about being an academic prodigy and being a perfect child and all of this kind of stuff. And it is based on Kayla. Like, she's directly the inspiration for this character. And I didn't realize that her mom didn't start writing those until after her brother died.
It's like she put all her hopes and dreams into this character. And now not only does Kayla have to live up to her family, it's like, well, you can't disappoint your fans. I think she says that at one point. And I'm like,
she does.
It actually reminded me of like the rom-com kind of version, like a lighter version of, did you ever read or watch Gone Girl?
No, Gone Girl was on my like to be read list at one point. I basically only read romance nowadays, I know. But like,
if you ever watch the movie though, because it is a good movie, and or read the book if ever, which is totally fair if you don't. But there's not a spoiler, but her parents write a character called Amazing Amy based on her. And she talks about how growing up, everything she did, Amazing Amy did better and more correctly. And I feel like Amazing...
Oh, no!
The way Gone Girl ends, Amazing Amy is like the dark-sided version of Little Yolanda.
Oh my God, that's devastating. Like, wow, you suck. So, like, here's a better version of you immortalized on paper.
Everything you did, but better.
Oh my God. Well, and it was hard to pinpoint until literally right now talking to you, but her mom doing this with the book, I have the same issues with that direct inspiration to the point of like, you can't separate from it. It's definitely a different flavor, but it reminds me of people who are like famous on social media because of their kids.
I get it. Yes, it's very much like you're putting a lot on your children. And in this case, like, it's funny because she's not in the sense of like, the public probably doesn't care that much. But she cares so much. It's like, because like in reality, if a child's reading a book or your child's reading a book, you might be like, oh, that author's great, but you're not really thinking of their kid, the real Yolanda.
Yeah.
But
well, especially because like, it's not like it's Little Miss Kathy.
No.
You know, like there's a slight separation. So it's like, that's why I say it's not the same thing.
But in the mom's eye, it is. It's like she can't tell them apart. Speaking of, this is totally out of left. But when she first said Little Miss Yolanda, do you remember the Little Mr. Man books? Like the Little Mr. Angry, Little Miss Sad. They were like the little circular things. And it would be like different emotions. Okay, Google it. There are these little Miss Happy or something. But there are these books that I would read when I was a child. They're very popular. And they would be like different emotions. And they would be these circular, colorful blobs. And they would have a bow or a hat. And all I could picture was little yellow Yolanda as a circle, but with freckles.
Well, like, I've never heard of that, but what I was thinking was I was trying to think of like a specific character I remember from youth kind of thing. And I was like, oh, this is like a board book version of like Junie B. Jones or something. Like
definitely, Junie B. Jones, like
maybe Nancy Drew, but that's even a little bit older. Like Junie B. Jones is definitely like very young coded, but also
like Fancy Nancy, maybe. I know the children now like the Fancy Nancy.
Oh. Yeah, maybe so. Well, especially because apparently there's going to be a Little Miss Yolanda TV show we find out at some point.
Yes,
like,
and she's got like a deal and she's got all this other stuff. So it's also like, you can't ruin it because what if they find out the real Little Yolanda is? And it's like funny because she's not actually doing anything bad. There's no scandals about her.
No, there's really not, except for later when she starts dating Ty, and that's its own gigantic flavor of fucked up, the way that all of that is handled in that like chat that she and her mom have at the end. I was so fucking angry on Ty and Kayla's behalf. Like, ma'am, Giselle Larrington, what the actual fuck are you doing perpetuating these stereotypes? Like,
we'll get there, but I like that she points out, and like Ty, I just want to hug Ty this entire book. I'm like, Ty, you gentle spirit, you have been done wrong by this world at every point, and you still say so kind. Like, nothing good happens to you till this point. Like, what's going on?
Oh my God, Ty, like they even comment on it in the book directly. Like if his story was in a fiction novel, which the irony that it is in a fiction novel, but like in a movie, they'd be like, oh, this is too heavy handed. Like this is too much, you know?
You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you may not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with discounts that are easy to come by. In fact, 99% of their auto customers earn at least one discount. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.
Okay, so we're jumping around. So she hasn't called home to RSVP for this. She's a little shocked that her dad is retiring, but also excited for him because like maybe he can like do the creative pursuits that he's always been interested in.
Her dad's a poet.
Yeah, but he's also like a professor of literature kind of, or like I think a professor of literature, but you know, hard-hitting like
yeah, they talk about
analysis and
he's like the foremost expert of something, and I can't remember off the head of, but they do mention that.
Well, yeah, because like, man, we learn about this in the retirement dinner, so I guess I'll wait until we get there.
Yeah, you want to
dive into it. So she very notably on this phone call, her mom does not ask her, "What are you up to?" Because basically, Kayla, like she does come from a place of privilege, right? Like she essentially lives on a trust fund. She has the financial freedom to do stuff like that, like be a part of a rock band that doesn't pay the bills yet, you know?
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, she's also like she comes from a place of privilege, but she's also a Black woman from that place of privilege. And then also on top of that, rolls into a rock band. So the music industry and an all-girl band, which is
a all-girl band with women of color as part of it.
Mm-hmm. It's primarily women of color, isn't it?
I'm pretty
Lillies,
sure Lily's
Scandinavian of some
Lily's
kind.
The only white girl, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so she doesn't commit to going, like she commits to going to the dinner kind of thing, but she isn't like, I've bought tickets for it. And
no, she's very much, I'll do that, but you can tell she's giving herself an out.
Mm-hmm. And like kind of lip servicing her mom, which like fair, frankly.
And you can tell her mom too is very much like, you should, like not expecting her to show up, but telling her like to show up. It's very, there's a lot underneath the surface.
Well, it's wild because her mom doesn't ask her how she's doing, but then does in fact lay into her like, I can't believe you're not doing anything with your life. And she's like, I'm literally on tour right now, but I can't tell you that because you're going to have nasty things to say about it.
Absolutely, yeah. Like,
oh, God. So then we end up zippy zapping and we meet Tyrell Baldwin, who is the swooniest fucking nerd. And just, I love Ty. Ty and Kayla are just wonderful.
They're such a good couple. Our hipster, like, beautiful man.
Mm-hmm.
Love him.
Like, when we find out that, like, he regularly wears kilts, and not as, like, a fashion statement, but because they're just legitimately comfortable to him, I was like...
utility kilt, and then sometimes he wears cargo shorts. Like, he's very much beats to, like, his own drum.
Yes, absolutely. And it is so swoony. And so does Kayla, but in a completely, like, more alt kind of way. And it's just, they're really delightful.
They are.
So he's woken up by a smoke alarm because, unsurprisingly, as listener knows, and I know that you and I have talked about this as friends, I love an old person. Oh. And anytime an old person shows up in a book, I'm really excited.
You're always befriending old people in your life, too. So this makes total sense. Like, if there's an old person, listener, Sabrina will be like,
that's mine.
That's
my new friend.
Weeks, they'll be her best friend. She'll be calling them Miss or Mr., whatever their first name is, helping them around the house.
They're mine. I've adopted them.
Yeah.
So we meet Ty because he's woken up by a smoke alarm, and it's because his precious grandfather, Van, is, like, cooking something, and...
Because he's gotten really into cooking competitions and Top Chef, and he's trying to recreate all these recipes.
Which, like, relatable. The one and only time I made chiffon cupcakes is exclusively because it was on a Good Eats episode with, what's his butt? God, what is his name?
Alton
you know
Brown.
who I'm talking? Yes.
No,
Love
I
an
get
Alton
it.
Brown.
I get it. The amount of times I've done something because like Padma Lakshmi showed it to me is an issue.
Yeah, or you like watch Great British Bake Off and you're like, man, maybe I do want to try making a
It's
something.
like some kind of incredible cake where you're like, the bottom fell.
Yeah, and like, let's be real, my bottom would also fall.
I would
This is not a skill you've worked on.
I would not get a firm handshake from Paul Hollywood. I would just get a look of judgment.
A look of
judgment.
And like,
yeah.
My God, if I got a look like that from Paul Hollywood, that is possibly would send me into the forest with not a nary a look behind.
No. And I know
never to be seen again.
Similar to Kayla not living up to her parents' expectations, my father is a professional baker and I can't bake. So it was a very terse time growing up. I always had the best stuff for like school bake sales, but also it would end in a huge screaming fight. I can cook, but the measurements, I can't do it. So it's a whole...
I didn't realize he was a professional baker?
My father is like, he's a merchandiser now, so he's not baking, but like that's what he started out as. And he used to like take students and stuff, and he'd be like, we got to do this. I made this bread. And I would just be like, we would be like screaming in the kitchen.
Wow. Okay. I had no idea. I don't know that I had registered that he did that before merchandise. So like what I'm hearing is like, if when I come visit, if you're like, hey, do you want some of this? My dad made it. The answer is abso-fucking-lutely.
If it's a baked good, you eat it.
Okay.
If I made it, walk away unless it's a muffin. I can do a muffin, but otherwise walk away.
I'm decent at things that come out of a box.
That's me too.
Yeah. Like recently we were talking about pancakes with some friends and they were like, oh yeah, you probably have like all of the stuff to make them at home, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I'm not doing that. Even if I have all of the...
Why would I do that when the pearl milling company would do it for me?
Yeah, exactly. Also, like, I don't know. Who knows? But so anyway, so we meet Van Baldwin.
Who is not making pancakes. He's making pancakes from scratch. Not right now.
Absolutely. But he's also like making fancy pancakes. I don't know what even constitutes a fancy pancake, but like if he makes...
He's making crepes.
He's definitely making crepes with like just the most luxurious filling of some kind. Like he's not a plain Nutella and sliced strawberries, buddy. There's going to be like a ganache in there that he's made from scratch.
Chantilly is involved.
Yes, that's entirely accurate. So we find out Ty's backstory pretty fucking fast, and the level of rage that I felt every single time we learned Ty's backstory, both when we learned it as reader, when we learned it from him telling Kayla, when we learned it from like his interactions with like Jordan the lawyer and stuff like that, like I was just so fucking mad every single time.
Should we just say his whole backstory? Because like I know it comes out in pieces, but...
Yes.
Okay, so Ty, tragically, when he was 6 months old, so we're just going to start young, his mother died in the most freakish way. She was driving. Somebody drove over an overpass and onto her car. Then when he was 11, his father, who he was very close to and like was his grandpa's son and like they were raising him together, I think had a heart attack randomly and just passed away.
Yeah. And then it's just been him and Van.
And they have, you know, honestly, the fact that he kept his joy after that.
Mm-hmm.
And
impressive.
He goes to college because he's extremely smart. He starts a little bit later, but he's very smart, has scholarships, and makes the mistake of befriending the wrong person.
Oh my God. Mary is, and like, I get, like, Mary has a tragic ending, but also like, I don't have any, I don't feel bad
he
about
says
it.
At one point, he goes, yeah, what happened is horrible. She was a horrible person, but she didn't deserve that. And I'm like, that's pretty blunt, but it's correct. So Mary Meredith is a white girl from a really rich family who he befriends and was hooking up with actually at times. But she plagiarized off of him.
She stole his fucking assignment, changed it a little bit, and then turned it in before he did. And then when they got accused of plagiarism, he had to go to the school court, whatchamacallit, and be like, hey, check out these timestamps. That is not how this went down. Which, like, boy, if this is such a great example of, like, keep track of everything as best you can.
And then she accused him of assault.
Yeah. When he goes to talk to her to be like, why did you accuse me of, like, why did you throw me under the bus like this? Also, like, you threw me under the bus for something I legitimately didn't do. You did this. And then she accuses him of hitting her. And, like, she's a rich white girl. What do you think is going to happen to the poor black man?
And he gets expelled. He gets put in jail for 3 weeks. And we know that he's been applying to other colleges, but they haven't been accepting him because he has this mark on his record. And there's some shadiness with that we'll experience later. But he was told that because there was no evidence, whatever, like, it was wiped clean, but it wasn't actually.
Yeah, which we find out, like, way at the end of the book. And justice was not done by this man in any flavor at all.
It's like depressingly realistic in that regard. Like, it's so depressingly realistic. And so he got his license to drive buses, and he's very excited about it.
Yeah. And so he had always had this dream of, he makes this, like, really devastating comment about how his dad was, like, a contractor for his whole life, but if he could have, he thinks his dad would have gone to college instead.
His dad loved to read too.
Yeah, and he's
his
like,
dad taught him to read.
Mm-hmm.
And was a really good. It's just tragic. You just know
everything about it.
And they make a comment too about how much, like, his parents loved each other, like Van does. Like, oh, I remember the first time your dad met your mom, and I'm like, this is so sad. This family deserved so much better, all of them. Yeah,
10,000%. So then we get all of this back, not all of it, but we get a lot of information about him and why he has a CDL now and all of these things, which sets up him meeting Kayla. And then we find out that Candy, if you remember from the first book, Candy was like the train wreck guitarist that Tony was the replacement for.
Yeah, she's like a Southern belle who she started the band along with
Lily,
and also, why am I forgetting his name? He's great. Tony's love interest from the first book.
Seb,
because Seb was their manager. Seb's the songwriter. Seb, like, fills in. So they all started together. It was all three of them. She was Seb's, like, sometime hookup, because that does come up again in this book.
Mm-hmm.
And she and Lily had a weird relationship. But she's a full-on train wreck, and she's a Southern belle from, like, a billionaire family.
Yeah. And so she was really into, like, drugs and alcohol and stuff in the last book, and that is clearly not changed. She is still just a full hot mess.
I would say it's escalated, possibly.
I would agree with that. The way she's described towards the end of the book, it's like, oh, you didn't learn anything.
No, in
the
fact,
last
I
6
believe
months.
it's just, she's gotten more of a victim complex.
Well, especially because she just kind of gets things handed to her. So we find out that Candy has now started a new band that got picked up by the same billionaire twins that picked up the Lillies.
There's one good twin and there's one bad twin, and this bad twin is obsessed with Candy for some reason.
Well, yeah, and he's also like, I'm gonna have 2 rival girl rock bands
it's
on
very
the same
like
label.
Gem and the Holograms, like, of him. It's very much like, here's Gem and the Holograms, and here's, like, the other band whose name I can't remember right now.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You don't know. Sometimes I'm like, oh my God, like, listener, me and Sabrina talk about this a lot. She never gets my references.
It's always so fascinating to me when you get going about, like, a person or a thing or, like, a group of peoples and things. You just have so much knowledge.
I'll give you a very quick overview so we don't take too much time. But Gem and the Holograms is a cartoon in the 80s. I watched it in the 90s because I think it ended the year I was born. But I grew up watching reruns of it. And it was about this woman called Jerrica Benton who, like, she inherited a record company, but she had this alter ego named Gem. And she was the leader of the band called the Holograms. And she had this holographic computer called Synergy. It went into weird ideas, and that would be like the holographic version of her performing, and she would, like, use her earrings to turn into that person. And they had a rival band called the Misfits, and the Misfits were always, like, up to no good, trying to, like, bring them down. It was a whole thing. There was lots of adventures. She had this horrible boyfriend named Rio who was, like, constant, like, damn it, Jerrica, you're always disappearing. But also, I'm attracted to this woman named Gem. And I'm like, they're the same person, you idiot. There's a very famous, like,
That reminds me of like Danny Phantom style.
It's
You know what I
very
mean?
much
Like
that, but it's like deeply 80s. And I used to watch it in the early 90s. I would rent VHSs from Blockbuster of it and be like, wow, what a show.
man, what a delight.
But
what a delight.
The days of renting TV shows off Blockbuster and you didn't know what era it came from.
Yeah. Well, like I recently saw Scream for the first time.
Great movie.
Yeah, great movie. But all of the scenes where they're like in the video rental store, I
Oh
was
my
like,
God, yeah.
man, I have such vivid memories of
It's
going
such a
to
time. But this reminded me of that, like him like creating this like alternate band and being like, I'm just gonna have the two big girl groups and they're gonna go against each other. It's gonna get so much press.
Well, and he very much lives by the idea of there's no such thing as bad press, right? Like your name in the press is good no matter what it is because it makes people know who you are, which that isn't great.
It's very it's very like early to mid 2000s logic of like.
Yes. I feel like that was not inaccurate before the internet became what it is. You know what I mean?
Very early internet, because do you remember like Lindsay Lohan, Paris Hilton, that whole era?
Yeah.
Of, like the bad girls.
Yeah. But it's just, he's trying to do this. The whole Lillies band is uncertain. They are not super happy and they're very suspicious about why Andre is, because Andre's the quote unquote, they call him the bad twin.
Yeah,
all the
and then
time.
there's the good twin who actually does like them, cares about music, but he's much more like hands off.
Yeah. So they also find out that so this was like never really acknowledged. And I have some logistics questions for you about this, Kiran.
Yes.
Because this is the beginning of the book still, right? And to be fair, we have given you a lot of information that means we don't have to stop through the rest of the book to like, oh, and this is when we learn about this part of backstory and blah, blah, blah. But Candy and her new band, Sugar Tits, I don't know.
Sugar Flare? It was a horrible name, Sugar Flare.
It was a bad one. I think it was, I know I have it in my notes somewhere.
It was something bad. Like, it was something bad.
Yeah.
Like that.
And it's also like a drug reference. And I'm like, that's on the nose.
It's very much like, hey.
Yeah, but also it, the lead singer's name is Candy, or lead guitarist's name is Candy. So I'm sure that's where it came from.
Yes,
but
absolutely.
It's also it's just a bad, stupid name.
It's bad.
So she has straight up stolen one of the Lillies songs, the one that they are in the middle of about to release themselves. And I'm like, how is this not a bigger, because they're all like, oh, shucks, that sucks. We should really get this recorded and released as soon as possible. And I'm like, are you not gonna, like, I feel like that's a rough song to be the first one you release now that somebody else is playing it.
It's very
live.
That has happened. I've heard of that where like, I don't remember who it was, but there's been people who have written songs and like the company's just given them to people. Like the record company will just give their song, like, because I know there's certain logistics where they own your publishing or whatever. And I don't know what the logistics for this is, because I'm guessing Candy, Sebastian, and Lily wrote the song together.
Yeah.
But I don't understand why they're like, I'm like, you guys have other songs. Put out another song.
Yeah. I had a lot of questions about, I was like, I feel like this is legally a questionable.
Yeah, like I feel like there's gotta be some, I get like maybe it's because they're on the same record label. And I do know they said they signed the contract like when there was another team and they had a bad lawyer.
Yeah.
Before Jordan came in, they signed the contract. This is from the last book, and they mentioned it again. They signed a contract that they do not like because they had signed an entertainment lawyer who was not Jordan, Seb's best friend. He was like just some dude, and he put them in a really shitty contract. And also, he's working for them now, but the A&R guy that they were working with was fired. So they are very much like in this contract kind of.
What is A&R?
Artists and something. It's basically the people who like, they're the ones who actually sign bands and like kind of work with them and develop them.
Okay. All right. So, okay. That makes sense. Yeah. There's a word that I'm trying to think of, and
it's artists and something. Artists and repertoire.
I would never have guessed that.
Me either.
In a million years.
Yeah. This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
So Ty gets called in for being the tour bus driver for the Lillies, and there is a very strict no fraternization policy because of what happened with Candy, I guess. I don't remember what happened there.
Candy and Seb were hooking up, and it caused a lot of issues. Mainly because even though they weren't dating and the hookups had stopped, she was very possessive of him. She was very it was causing chaos in the band. And there's also some gray area with something had possibly happened with her and Lily. And so they had created this no fraternization policy, even though they kind of broke it in the last book.
Okay. Well, because it even turns into a little bit of a joke later.
Well, yeah, because Seb and Tony in the first book, right?
Yeah. So Ty gets called into this because basically he is getting a job at this company that, rents out buses and things like that and drivers and things. And he is called up because his friend is the one who owns the company. He's the one kind of doing Ty a favor.
Yeah, he's one of the only people that was willing to hire him, and he helped him get his license. And now he's like, hey, here's a gig. You might like this.
And also, you're the only person I trust not to try and fuck all of them.
Yeah.
Basically.
And he's like, and you'll fit in. You got your piercings.
Yeah. You are also an alt person.
It's like, hello, my fellow youths.
Yeah, exactly. So he gets called in for that, and this is the girl's first time having a tour bus, and it's amazing. And they're all gobsmacked by how professional and fantastic this is. And then Kayla is double gobsmacked when she sees their driver.
She's
and
like, who
Kayla
is this hottie with a body?
Well, because he's in his utility kilt. He's in he's just hot.
He's like this beautiful man with dread,
short locks, piercings all over,
beautiful cheekbones, just a gorgeous man.
Yeah, which relatable. And
they're both 25, so they're very horny. They're 25.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Remember 25?
I remember the days of 25 back in
when I was
the
25,
olden days.
I was wearing business casual to the club.
How mid-knots / early 2010s that it is.
Listen, I was 25 in 2012, so you better believe.
Yeah, I was 25 in
You're about you're about 5 years younger than me, so.
Yeah, 2019.
Yeah. I was wearing a lot of peplum tops, so.
I was not 25 at the club in 2012, but I was at the club in 2012, and yeah, that was still real common, real popular.
I don't know why, but at the time we were very much let's take an outfit from day to night.
Yeah, it was a lot of sluttily unbuttoned button-downs and pencil skirts.
Real short. Wear a blazer, you would wear a peplum top, you would wear a go-go top. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, exactly.
But I remember those days, and they are right in them, but in a better time.
Yeah, so they basically get going. They're getting on the road, and there's some really funny banter about Seb and Tony are definitely getting the actual bedroom on this bus.
Yeah, everyone's we don't want to hear you banging.
Which that's fair. And it also brings up some real intense logistics questions that I have for later in the book as well.
There's some stuff. Yeah, I know what you're talking about, and I'm right there with you.
Yeah. So they're driving, and Kayla ends up going to hang out. She and Ty start getting to know each other, and they both realize they love books, and she spends time just hanging out with him while he's driving.
Listening to audiobooks, and so they start listening to them together, and she starts sitting kind of in the stairwell, which makes him very nervous multiple times. He's like, please don't have something. He's like, that's not safe.
But also what is when you're on a tour bus? Like,
What is
what's
really? Yeah. But
like
you know,
what's so much worse about sitting in the stairwell than just not being buckled into a couch? You know,
but
like
that's the magic of Ty. Like on the front, he's like this alt guy. He's edgy, but he's actually just like a really sweet grandpa book nerd.
he
He wants everyone to wear their seatbelts. Okay. He wants.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, has everybody buckled in? Okie dokie. Let's get on the road.
He's taking
So-
care of her and everyone.
Yeah, and he is so super aware of this no frat. God, that is what a rough word.
Fraternization.
Fraternization.
You got it.
So he is very aware of it while he's feeling them getting closer and closer because he's so aware that like, oh, we can't do anything, but like, goddamn, I just think she's so cool. We also find out later that he's demisexual.
and bisexual.
And it's not. Yeah, and like it's not explicitly stated on page, like the word demisexual never shows up.
Yep.
But he does talk about how he doesn't feel physical attraction for people until he has an emotional connection with them.
Which makes the Mary stuff even like worse because he was hooking up.
More
with her.
baffling.
He must have cared about her at one point, and that really sucks.
Oh God, yeah. I hadn't even connected that. You're right though.
Yeah.
Golly, that makes me so sad.
I know.
So
But he falls fast. This is definitely a he falls first situation. Like she likes him immediately and thinks he's hot, but he is like, this is the love of my life. This is the best woman ever. She's so pretty. She's so cool.
oh my God. And
I
he's
love
also
her.
just
She's
so,
so smart.
ride or die.
She's so smart. She's so pretty. Look at her curly hair. And he's
Mhm.
also like, because he's a big, like, he wanted to be a literature professor, actually. He
Mhm.
is weirdly a fan of her mother, her academic work.
Oh my God. Yeah. Like, so there's this scene where they are in a bookstore together and he picks up this book and he's like, oh man, wow, you kind of look like the lady on the back of this book. And it's her mom. And she's like, interesting.
Put
What
that
a
away. Put that away.
cool-"
And he's like, she's a great educator. And she's like, yeah, put it away.
Yeah, basically. So, oh man, I even made a note about this where there's a super cute scene where she's like, oh, I'll leave you alone and stop bothering you. And he's just like, you don't bother me at all, actually. And you are welcome to come chat with me and hang out whenever you want to.
She's like, you want to listen to some books? We'll listen to some books.
Oh my God, the moment where they listen to audiobooks together was real swoony and
When
sweet.
he gives her one of his, because he's like, for safety, he only keeps one earbud in, but he gives her the other earbud so they can listen to it together.
I will say that as somebody who is, it squicked me out a little bit just because like that was in your ear canal.
No, girl, I'm a health
But-
inspector. I get it. I was like,
It's one of those things where it's swoony in the book.
in
you
the
know?
book, it's amazing. If a man just popped it out and did it to me, I'd be like, put that away.
Yeah, I'd be like, when's the last time you washed behind your ears?
Yeah.
Bud?
But we believe Ty because he's so beautiful and gentle and wonderful. He has incredibly clean ear canals.
Impeccable hygiene.
Hygiene is
and
amazing.
his-
That man has no dirt under his fingernails because he works on it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's some like awkwardness on the bus. Like we get a lot of scenes where it's just real awkward because her friends don't know about her family and her her history at all, basically. And so like there's a lot of things where like Tiff will make a joke about I forgot what a fucking chaotic little gremlin Tiff was too until reading this book. I love her so much. But she like makes some jokes about like, oh yeah, our resident genius, Kayla, and like talking about like all of her education and like clearly you're well educated and all of this. Like it seeps out of your pores. And Kayla's like, oh, wow, yeah, wonder where that comes from. It's definitely not my college professor parents and this whole history that I haven't told.
She's like, don't worry about it. And you're right about Tiff. The first time she sees Ty, she literally is like, well, hello. Like she's like ready to go.
She's such a gremlin.
Yeah, she just no filter.
Yeah, and they end up running into Kayla's old school friend, Siobhan.
Because Siobhan is dating the lead singer of a pretty prominent band.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because she's the one. That's how she gets hooked up with,
Yeah.
not bright spots, with bad
Yes. That.
pedals.
Yeah.
Nope. Broken Pilots. It's called Broken Pilots.
I was gonna say like there's 21 pilots, but that's not
Yeah.
right. It's Bad Pilots.
Yeah.
But, yeah, they hook up, but like it's her, and they seem like they were really, really close. Like at one point they mentioned that she's the one who was sitting with her when she found out her brother passed away.
Yeah.
And it sounds like she was really good friends with Siobhan, and Siobhan's brother was really good friends with her brother.
Oh my God. And it turns into apparently Darren, Siobhan's brother, is a big old dickhole, a narcissistic ass is how he's described. But like, he really wasn't that bad from what I saw.
He didn't do much. Like, we're saying that now because she says it, but he just kind of shows up and smirks a couple times. But he was her brother's best friend, and like, seems still close to the family.
But like the big problem is they're in this hospitality tent either pre or post festival show. And that's when Siobhan sees her and is like, oh my God, Kathy. And she's like, shh.
And she's like, don't tell them we were prep school roommates.
Yeah, they don't know I went to prep school. They don't know anything about my past.
And
which
I have to say, Siobhan's a great friend because she's like, cool. Got it. Is your phone number the same? Because we're going to be hanging out now because I missed you. And you can tell they are very close. Like, even though they haven't seen each other in a while, you can tell there's a real bond there. And she's missed Kathy Kayla.
Yeah. I also just suddenly realized that the name Kayla, I've been wondering about it the entire book,
Kathy
how she got that.
And then...
Well, yeah. Catherine Yolanda Larrington. It's literally her initials.
Yeah. Kathy.
Plus a little.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So apparently that's what Zach used to call her. She goes by Kayla because Zach called her Kayla. Zach called her
Kayla,
yeah. Brother.
And Zach was a drummer.
Yeah.
Zach was
we'll talk about this now actually so that I don't forget myself. But so she explicitly is partly into drumming. Like Zach was a drummer and he died on the way to a show.
Yes.
Like her parents or specifically her mom, they're not into the idea of her doing like drumming and music and things like that, partially because they expect more out of Catherine Yolanda, but also I think part of it is just that they're worried she's going to end up going down the same path that Zach was. And it's not explicitly stated, but there's a comment a couple of times about like drugs and alcohol being involved in the accident.
Yeah, and they do say that he turned down a fellowship to go on the road. So I feel like they see it as he chose this over education and it led to his death, even though I think it was a car accident, but regardless of whatever happened, right? There's clearly a lot of trauma there and it's not necessarily rational, but when is trauma rational, right?
Yeah. Yes, 10,000%. Yeah. So she begs her bestie, Siobhan, old bestie, Siobhan, not to say anything. She says that she won't.
Current bestie, Siobhan.
Yeah, exactly. Like they had a little break, a little hiatus, but they're back, you know?
Yeah.
And she ends up meeting Jamie, the lead singer of Broken Pilots. And Broken Pilots are a band that they just recently got real big. They're about to go on their first world tour. And he's like, man, I heard y'all out there. Y'all were amazing. I would love it if y'all opened for us.
And Siobhan's like, well, this is my friend. And she actually said that they have time. Like, she kind of hooks it up.
Yeah. And so that turns into a thing because at the end of the book, they do end up going on tour. Like everything works out as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, but we'll get to it, but there's some issues there. But yeah.
Lord. Oh my God. Yeah, there is. So she is now hooked up with Jamie and has his information, goes back super excited to tell her the band about it. And they're all like, hell yeah, let's go. And then we zippy zap again to Ty finding out that his grandpa talked to a lawyer because his granddad is very much on board with burn it down.
Yeah, he's like, you deserve money, you deserve to get into a school, you deserve to like. And Ty's like, I think he's so traumatized. He's mostly just like, I just want to get on with my life. He just wants it to be
over. Yeah,
like I tried. I keep getting rejected. Like,
yeah, I'm just gonna accept what the world has done, which. Honestly, he's been so beaten down from the beginning. He's just had bad shit happening to him his entire life. Like, honestly, I can totally understand where he's coming from, where he's just like, I just want a frictionless life, dude. Like,
it's also been like relatively like 2 years since all this went down. So it's still pretty fresh.
Yeah. And so he is basically, I don't want to go to court over this. Stop asking me about lawyers, Grandpa. Like, I'm not interested in doing that. But, like, it's so devastating. He still has nightmares about prison and, like, triggered by things. And it's just, oh my God. I'm really glad that he does end up going, like, not necessarily going to court, but, like,
he gets
it doesn't.
justice, or he's seeking justice, and it looks like it's going the right way.
Yes.
I think this is when he also asks if, like, Miss Peggy is taking care of his, because they have a neighbor called Miss Peggy who comes up later as my greatest betrayal in the book.
Okay, I have questions about that because
we'll get there. But, like, Miss Peggy is a neighbor who's sweet on Van and, like, checks in on him, and, like, as far as we know at this point, is a very kind woman.
Well, and she's also kind of like, she's always been there. She's kind of the adopted neighbor grandma.
She's like a pseudo mother figure to him.
Yeah. So they end up doing this, like, last minute show at a music store on the very end of this the tour, like the very end of the first leg of their festival tour. And they do this unexpected show just at a record store. And this is the first time we get to see Ty being like, do you see that beautiful angel on stage? All of these girls are amazing and you should be listening to them and you should know their name.
And to the guy's credit, because he's talking to a guy who's kind of a bro. Like, he's talking about, like, guitarists or something, and, like, assuming that she's not a guitarist, and it's implied it's because she's a black woman.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end, he does kind of go, like, she says something about, like, and maybe more guitarists will look like her. And he's like, yeah.
Oh, no, that's the second store that they go to.
Oh, that's the second store. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's fine. This one's, like, important because it's the first time that he watches her play or not at a festival, but, like,
when he sees how talented she is, and she has different kinds of, like, drumsticks that he wasn't expecting because it's a smaller one. She feels like a bit of a smaller kid, but she's so talented.
Well, and then we have this fucking awful scene where he goes to set, like, because they don't have roadies on this tour.
No,
they're still
doing it all. Yeah.
And it's not part of his job description, but he just wants to help out. And we have this awful scene where this woman sees him at the bus and assumes that he's trying to steal stuff. And it's just like...
And he's so polite because he has to be.
Yeah, because he's a big black man.
Yeah, he's a tall black man.
And so, like, she already is making the worst kind of racist assumptions about him being there to steal things off of the bus. And it's just another example of...
Yeah. And it's so realistically done. This is when you know, like, the author is a black woman, because the way that she writes him saying, like, ma'am and all this other stuff, like, it's so...
Mm-hmm.
It's so depressingly realistic. Because he knows what the danger is. He's been through it once.
Well, like, there's also this comment at some point in the book where Kayla, they're both talking, and she's talking about some experience that she had, and she's like, yeah, didn't you get that talk? And it's basically this talk about, like, you have to be an exceptional black woman.
Half as much. And he got the talk about, basically, you are going to be perceived as threatening.
Yeah. Like, no matter what you do, that's just how you're going to be perceived.
And so, like, and when you're driving and all this other stuff, and it's like they both had to have these talks that are depressingly true because they are both black, even if they grew up in vastly different circumstances. Yeah.
So then we get this, like, so then this is when that bookstore thing happened that we talked about, where before getting back on the
amazing little date.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's because they're not doing anything, because, again, no fraternization.
They just want to check out a used bookstore, both of them, so they go together.
Well, and then this is also when they basically have the I like you conversation and, like, let's make plans when we get back kind of thing. And it's super cute because he is so endearingly honest about just everything. He is not one to hide who he is or what he's interested in, because he just looks at her and he's like, I like you.
Well, and because she even says, like, she makes another comment about, like, oh, if I'm making, he's like, no, I want to go with you. And then, like, he makes a comment later on, but it's kind of related to this, where he's like, oh yeah, like, I shouldn't be alone with you because I won't be able to stop myself from kissing you. Like, he just says that to her, and she's like, oh.
Well, and that's also when she finds out about the no fraternization clause, because she didn't even know it was a thing. And she's like, well, why don't you kiss me? And he's like, because I could lose my job.
Insurance isn't one size fits all. That's why drivers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years now. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they'll show you options that fit your budget. So whether you're picking out your first policy or just looking for something that works better for you and your family, they make it easy to see your options. Visit Progressive.com. Find a rate that works for you with the Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
And at the bookstore, too, because I don't want to forget this because it comes up later, he notes that there's a first edition of a book he really likes, and it's like autographed by the author. And this author they've been talking about and bonding over, like one of them. And it's like $250. And he's like, nah, too rich for my blood right now. But she makes note of it.
Mm-hmm. So they get back on the bus and they make tentative plans for him to show her used bookstores around Philadelphia.
He's from there.
Mm-hmm. And it's just so cute. And there's this moment where she like props her foot up on next to him, like on his chair next to him. And he like reaches down and like squeezes her ankle while he's driving. And it's just really cute. And it's just, it's so cute.
They're just like, they like each other so much. It's the cutest. It's one of the cutest books I've ever read in a long time in a weird way, because it's just like, you're just like holding it and hugging it and like shaking your legs like,
well, I think part of it is everything around them is so fraught with emotion and baggage and bad shit that the way that they fall in love and get to know each other is so wholesome.
It's innocent and pure is the only way you can describe it. Like it's very gentle.
That's the word. That's the right word for it. Like it's
gentle.
so, yeah, it's not a fall in love with skinned knees. It's like falling in love into just a pile of blankets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's soft landing for each other. So this is when she learns about his history, including the assault stuff and school, including his parents and all of these things. This kind of lays the groundwork for him helping write lyrics that is never explicitly done on page, but it's definitely, I would not be surprised in the next book if we find out that Ty is now partially,
helping with the lyricist, because she like looks at his poetry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they're also, of note, officially horny for one another, even though they have not kissed yet.
No, but they're very horny for each other.
Yeah. And then this is part of the reason I was really, really worried about Grandpa, because the night before they head back, he gets a call, or he calls home, and his granddad has accidentally set fire to the kitchen because he forgot that something was cooking. And I was like, oh God, this old man has dementia. This old man has the beginning of Alzheimer's.
I know. I was genuinely preparing for like, I have Alzheimer's and that's why I'm going to the home. But it's
yeah. And like, it's not. He's just getting older.
He's just getting older, and it's a plus 55 is what. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a personal care home.
But his granddad is like, don't worry about it. Finish out that, like, you do not need to rush back. I'll see you in 24 hours.
He's like, it was literally just a stovetop. The house is fine.
Yeah. And so they end up at this hotel the last night of the first leg, and they end up in like a surprise dogpile press conference in the hotel lobby.
Yes.
And this is when they start suspecting that Andre, the evil twin, is like feeding information to the press to help drum up drama.
He's like setting them up.
Yeah, because there's a reporter there who is asking extremely pointed questions. This is also where we start to get a little bit of a hint about Tiff's backstory.
She mentioned her sister.
Mm-hmm. Back in LA, who is some flavor of sex worker. And it's scandal, right? Like we're hunting scandal right now. And then she even, when she starts asking pointed questions about Kayla, she's like, Miss Whitman. And then like is asking her questions, and clearly she knows something about how
that's not her real name.
Yes. Which is not great. This is significantly less than, none of this is ideal.
No, it's all very sketch.
Yeah. And it's just real fucked up. The whole thing is fucked up. And we find out later that it probably is that Andre is just spilling secrets to the press to make them a hot topic, I guess. And that whole idea of bad press, any press is good press, even if it's bad
Yeah,
press.
he's trying to stir up like any kind of attention or like clicks.
Yeah. So they end up like having to get security involved to get them out of the way. And Ty is just such a beautiful human who is the one who calls in security and is like, hey, we got to get these girls out of here because it's turning into a mob situation because, you know, the Lillies are getting upset. The reporters are realizing there's something to get their teeth in. It's just a whole thing.
And he's like always like so helpful in a way that the rest of the band members and like managers also love him because he's always doing stuff like this.
Mm-hmm.
He's just
and it doesn't
helping.
Yeah, and it's not like it's definitely not in any kind of like, look how good I am. It's just, that's just who he is.
They do a really good job of just showing him being a kind person without like everyone being like, oh my God, he's such a kind person. This book is so good at show and not tell.
Yes, which, man, I really appreciate that. Like, there's some books where just because of the way the vibe of the book, that tell is more effective. But this is definitely not one of them. And Xio Axelrod could teach a master class on it.
No, they're such a good like writer of a slow burn kind of like, I don't want to say slice of life, but like kind of like the drama of real life in extraordinary circumstances almost.
Yeah. Yeah,
because
they really...
stars, all their problems are not rock star problems. They're like, even in the first book, right? And in this book, problems are very human and like down to earth.
Well, and they might be aggravated by the fact that they're in the public eye, but their issues really are just like, this is something anybody can relate to.
Caused by the public eye, even though you're right, they might be exacerbated by that.
Yes. So she ends up finding him by the river. He had invited her on a river walk, essentially. And there's just this really touching moment where they're standing on the river bank in Detroit, I think that they are right now. And he's just real in his feelings about a lot. And we find out when we zippy zap to back home that it's like his birthday is like a day from now.
And he never told anyone.
Yeah. And he's like real in his feelings about like, I miss my dad. And it's real devastating. Like,
he tells
I'm just
her
so
a little bit
sad
about
for
his
him.
dad and how he used to take him to work with him.
It's really sweet. So he gets home, right? And we end up seeing Pop Pop. He calls his grandpa Pop Pop. And for his 25th birthday, his granddad bakes this like amazing, beautiful cake.
Like, that cake sounded amazing. That cake was not. That cake was like next level.
It makes me want a sweet treat.
I know. Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah. And his grandpa apparently cashed in some of his retirement to write him a giant check.
Also, his grandpa apparently is like a tech, like he's a savant at stocks because he just invested in some tech companies and he's like, oh, don't worry, I'm not a billionaire, but we don't want to worry about money.
Well, and we don't even find out that there's like stocks involved until the very end of the book, because right now is the conversation where he writes him a check, says he cashed in some of his retirement and that he wants to move into, you know, assisted
55.
living.
Yeah, it's like a very fancy like plus 55 apartment where like he'll have care, but he'll have independence, but he also will have more of a sense of community, and they have like an industrial kitchen, so they'll let him use it. He's very excited about that.
Yeah, and he's like, and I want you to use this money to start the rest of your life, like to kickstart it. And I'm holding you back.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm selling the house. Like, I'm not kicking you out, but the house is going to the market.
Pop, pop.
He's like, listen, as long as we have this house, you're not going to leave.
Yeah, and like, I understand where Pop Pop is coming from, but also like, I feel like this could have been handled.
Yeah, like it is hard because it's also like, wasn't that also his dad's house? Like, that's got to have a lot of emotions attached. But he seems okay with it, and like he understands why Pop Pop is doing it.
Yeah, and he also refuses to accept the money. He will not let his grandfather hand him that check. Like, he takes it. He makes his grandpa take that check back.
Yeah, he's like, you take it. Yeah.
Yeah. So he gets to work. He's trying to figure out what his next gig driving is going to be essentially. And he has a package waiting for him. And when he opens the package, it is a birthday present from Kayla. And it's that signed copy from the bookstore.
Got it for him.
Oh my God. And he feels a little awkward about it, which, like, fair. Y'all just met, and that is a $250
It kind of shows like how financially they're in different brackets, because to him that's like, oh my God, that's a lot of money. That's like, you know, quite a bit of his salary probably. And for her, it's like, it's $250.
It's whatever.
It's not a big deal.
Yeah, that's like the equivalent of like him going and buying a latte.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. She's like, $250 to me is like $50 to you. Like,
yeah. And so she left him her number because they didn't exchange numbers before the end of the trip, and is like, hey, I want a rain check on that river walk that we didn't have in Detroit for all of the reasons that we didn't have. But I want a rain check. So, like, let's see each other.
'cause he's in Philadelphia, but I think they're recording in Chicago.
Is it Chicago or New York? They're from New York,
They're
right?
from New York, but the studio is in Chicago because that's where Tony's from.
Oh, I thought the factory's in Chicago. I thought it was in Philadelphia, and that's why they're all moving to Philadelphia at the end
Oh,
of
you're
the
right.
book.
It is Philadelphia. I don't know why.
Oh, okay. No,
Yeah.
it's fine. I
No,
was like,
you're right. Tony's from Philadelphia and Seb is from Philadelphia, or at least a little town outside of Philadelphia.
mm-hmm.
And so that's why they're moving, because the factory, which Tony partly owns from the first book, is in Philadelphia.
Yeah, because also, oh my God, I just suddenly clicked that, and I don't know if I made this connection in the first book, but I just realized that the factory is spelled with a PH, probably because it's in Philadelphia, huh?
Yeah, that makes sense. I also didn't pick up on that. I was thinking of Fat Farm, so that makes a lot more sense than whatever I
You
was.
were thinking of what?
You remember, like, it's like, you know, like 90s slang, like, they have
Yeah.
the Fat Farm clothing, and like, that's fat. I was like, well, that's kind of dated, but whatever. What do I know? I don't know who started this and when. So,
Oh my God, that's probably not inaccurate.
but I do think you're right. It's for Philadelphia. And I'm sure because this started like whenever it started, I'm sure that played a role too. Because it was Richie's father's studio initially.
Yeah, well, and it's like a studio with like a lot of history.
It's
Like-
a very old studio that a lot of people have recorded in it, a lot of different kinds of artists.
Oh my God. And then we zippy zap over to Kayla going home for her dad's retirement dinner. And it is,
Although her dad is, I love him.
her dad is so precious. And there are so many times in this book where I want to strangle Giselle Larrington.
Well, because her dad, and this is where we learn, he really wants to work on his poetry now that he's retiring.
Well, and then at his retirement dinner, they're like, oh, what are you going to do with all of this free time? And he's like, oh, you know, I might work on this thing. And she's like, oh, yeah, the thing you've been spending 20 years on that you never actually did anything with? No, what you should actually do is work on that Octavia Butler essay and how, like, what an impact that has had on the society and blah, blah, blah.
And even
it's
now, when he like brings it up, you can tell like she's been very diminished. Like for years, has been like, oh, that's his little hobby, but it's not actually weighty or important.
like,
But it
Mhm.
also kind of showcases like that's maybe where they get the artistic side from.
Yeah. 10,000%.
It's like the most gentle. Like he is also an academic, but he's perfectly fine being kind of in his wife's shadow. Possibly too much, because I do think an issue is that he is very cool, just kind of being like, well, your mother did say this.
Yeah.
And we see a bit of it here.
I would definitely agree with that. And it's so sad because, like, her dad is obviously hurt by the dismissal of his interests. And she she speaks up and she cannot keep her mouth shut. And I don't remember exactly what she says, but like loud enough for other people to hear. She's
There's
like,
a swear in there too,
fuck's
which I
sake,
remember
Mom.
Dr. Larrabee is not happy with that.
Yeah. Well, her mom pulls her out into the hallway and is like, it's such an uncomfortable conversation because she is still not telling her mom that she's in a band. And her mom's like, God knows what the fuck you're doing out there in LA, but it's nothing with your life. And like, why should your dad spend time on poetry when he's this incredible intellectual? And why would he choose to work on poetry when he could work on these like
Important academic papers and journals and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is just another slap in the face for Kayla as far as like, why would I ever tell you?
No, because
Like-
it's like you're so unsupportive and you assume the worst already.
Yeah. And she also like her mom even brings up Zachary, the brother, in this conversation, which Kayla makes note of because her mom never talks about Zach.
No, she does not mention him by name. She never talks about him. In the beginning, there's a part in the prologue that we didn't mention, but like Kayla is looking at records in her brother's room and playing with his sticks, and she comes in and tells him like, you have to go and like say hello to people, and then she shuts the door, and the idea is like, she's like, we can't stay in here living and through this, like we have to shut the door on that.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I hadn't really picked up on that, but it is very much
like we gotta go, like get out.
Yeah, Zach stays in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Like Zach is dead and we're not gonna open that door again.
Yeah.
Damn. So this is when we meet Darren Siobhan, and like I say we meet, he's not important. He doesn't really come back.
He's basically there because like, and I think like he's basically there kind of as a red herring that he's gonna do something bad, but he doesn't.
I would argue, honestly, that there's quite a few red herrings in this book because there's a lot of things that I thought were going to happen, and they do not happen
like
at all.
Little things that you see, but they're not really picked up on. But yeah, Darren and like Darren is, yeah, you don't really hear much beyond
the importance of him is he spills the beans that she's drumming
and also Siobhan, because I guess Siobhan had mentioned it to him, but Siobhan had also messaged her to warn her that Darren would be there.
Yeah, like heads up, he knows about what's going on, and she shuts it down real quick. He's talking about the drumming, and she's like, no, what are you talking about? Yeah, I still pick up sticks sometimes. And he almost spills the beans at this. She's doing like a full festival circuit. Like she is but in a band,
but
not
he
like
does end up not doing it for whatever.
Well, and that's part of the reason that I'm like, man, listen, I think that you have a real fucked up view of Darren.
No, because he's probably a bit of a tool, but at the end of the day, they like mention he's like a bit of a player. He's real slimy, like he's very close to their friends. But I'm like, he also was best friends with your brother and clearly grieves him too, which is probably why he's so close to the family.
Yeah. So we end up zippy zapping and we see Ty and his grandpa visiting the senior community. And it really is like, can I live there?
Oh my God. That kitchen that he's allowed to like use whenever, unless there's cooking classes.
We find out later at one point that they're bringing in a scuba instructor.
Because he's like, I got my swimming lessons, and kind of it turns into a running joke. We were worried at first, but it's like a running joke that Ty thinks that his grandpa's getting dementia at every turn, and he's not. We can clear that up. That's not his health issue. But he goes like, oh, well, we're have swimming. And he's like, Grandpa, you know how to swim. He's like, I know how to swim. I've like taught your dad and I taught you. And he's like, I've been swimming since I was 11. He's like, no, it's scuba. It's like,
yeah, I definitely have moments. So like, Alzheimer's runs in my family, and I have definitely made the comment before of like, nobody's gonna know that I have Alzheimer's until it is so far gone, because that's just who I am.
Oh, I get it. I'm very like, I'll be like, what's that word again? You know, I do that a lot. So I get it. And like, I have a memory for real nonsense. But if you were to be like, what did you eat for lunch yesterday? I'd be like, food.
I ate something.
I'm guessing I'm alive.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I did like that scene just because it was very funny how like indignant he was that like, no, I know it's scuba. I'm learning how to scuba dive.
Mm-hmm. So we end up like, oh man, so the next thing that we see is Ty and Kayla basically on like kind of a little date walking around Philly, and she's apartment hunting.
It's so cute and he's helping her.
Oh my God. And then she puts this fucking asshole, racist, classist realtor so hard in his place.
She's
and
like, I think this place is a little too cheap for me.
Yeah, and God, it's like a $3,000 apartment. She's like, oh, wow, yeah. It's just like, I'm surprised because, you know, this is such a great deal.
Yeah, like she really looks at him like, this is nothing for me.
Yeah. And it was just really satisfying. She has such a skill, and it's even commented on, and it's also just shown on page that she has this very incredible skill of really putting people in their place in a way that, boy, you really can't get around it.
And
like
it's one of those things that she clearly got from her mother. Like it's an interesting connection because they both have this way of like just very directly and like not in a way that you can like really call them out, just putting you in your place.
Yeah. So this is also Man, so I got it wrong apparently in the notes. This is when she finds out about the plagiarism and assault charges.
Yeah. But she does immediately, she's like, of course I believe you. I know you.
Yeah. And then this is also when he finds out, like, he still doesn't know the truth about her family, but he does find out that they don't know about what she does because it's a secret. They would not be happy about what she's doing, which he's just baffled. Like, oh my God, this is such a good example of like,
but you're
show,
so
don't tell.
And you're so incredible. I would be so proud.
Well, and it's one of those moments where you realize, oh, you've been supported by the people important to you your whole life.
Well, yeah, because he mentions his dad like being the best dad, and his grandpa is just like the best grandpa.
Yeah. And then they have this conversation where she is like, so are you going to come be our driver again for the second leg of the tour? Maybe, please? And he's like, not sure. Like, I don't know. I can't commit quite yet. And like, they have this conversation where she is basically like, I'm not trying to pressure you, right? Like, even if you do come, it doesn't necessarily mean anything is happening between us.
Like, we don't have to do anything if you're not into it.
Yeah. And then she's like, I think it'd be fun, but like, what do you want? And he looks at her and he says, and I quote, honestly, the only thing I've wanted in a long time is this. Oh. And then they have just the sweetest first kiss.
He just goes. It's so good. It's so good.
And it's like described as like just so soft, and they're just coming together over and over. And he doesn't like try to push for more. It's just, this is
like
this
she
is
mentions
what,
like it's so gentle. Like he's not forcing anything, and he keeps giving her chances where if she wants to like stop, she can.
It's just, oh God,
like for a book that's like relatively low steam, like there's 2 sex scenes kind of that we'll discuss. But it is a sexy book in, like, just the tension.
It's so horny. Like, it is.
They're so horny for each other. And it's just so, like, cut it with a knife, that tension.
Yeah. And so then we end up, like, kind of zippy zapping again. This is when, God, we find out that YMI really is just, Andre is just such a massive piece of shit.
I like picture Andre, I don't, like, it's one of those things where I picture him looking like basically a weasel. Like a human weasel in a suit.
I don't remember anything about what the twins look like.
About what he looks like, but I'm like, I can tell you right now, I bet he has a greasy receding hairline. I just know it in my soul. And that he wears like Axe.
Oh my God, he's definitely an Axe or like the...
Yeah, he's like
it's gotta be Axe.
Money flashy.
Well, especially because they're described as like Silicon Valley twins. And like as somebody in the tech industry... I know exactly who you're like, I know
about. Andre. I don't know.
I've met Andre, and it's not fun.
It's very much like the movie, like Twins, where it's like, he's like the Danny DeVito twin, and the other one's the Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like, one got all the good, and the other got all the bad. It's very odd.
Oh my God, I haven't thought about that movie in so fucking long. Oh boy. Oh my God. That totally reminds...
A reference I made that you got.
I'm actually, yes, and I'm about to tell you something which is extra hilarious because of the twin being named Andre. So I don't know that we have talked about this, but have I told you about the new HB HQ headcanon about why the timeline we live in is so bad?
I don't know.
Okay, so let me give you the lowdown. So we watched The Princess Bride for a Patreon watch party.
Oh, Andre the Giant, who hadn't died, the world would be better.
No. Oh. So in The Princess Bride, Andre the Giant plays, God, whatever. I can't think of the... Yes, Fezzik. And originally, Arnold Schwarzenegger was up for that role. Yeah. And we have decided that the movie is a better movie for having Andre the Giant as Fezzik, right?
Yeah.
But... that was the sacrifice, right? Like, the timeline that we are in is terrible because The Princess Bride was a better movie.
Isn't it insane how, like, somehow Arnold's become one of our saner Republicans?
Listen, Arnold Schwarzenegger was my governor for a while, so, like, yeah.
Isn't it wild how he, like, turned out, like, you're like, wow.
Not the literal worst scum of the earth.
How are you more liberal than the current Democratic? I don't know, but you were, and I appreciate that now you're just yelling at Donald Trump and you're with your mini horses, but I don't disagree with you.
Yeah, and so now it has just kind of turned into like shorthand though of like, you know, man, it's a running joke that because The Princess Bride was a better movie, we are in a worse timeline. And it's always the question of like, man, was it worth it?
Was it worth it? And
worth it to have a better Princess Bride? Like,
this is clearly the Andre timeline.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly
Andre
it.
the Giant. You were apparently a very gentle soul.
Just beautiful. It just made me laugh because you brought up Arnold Schwarzenegger, and this evil twin is in fact named Andre, and it just made me think of that. So
it is,
so
that's
our Princess Bride conspiracy theory about why
think you might be correct.
Yeah. Like we had a better movie, but like, was it worth it?
I don't know.
For like such a cult classic.
It is my favorite movie, so I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe just for me and it being my favorite movie, the world will burn. But I have my favorite movie, so I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. No, but like that's exactly it. Like it is such a cult classic favorite movie for so many people, and like every day I wake up and I hear about something terrible, and I'm just like, man.
Maybe Andre
the Princess Bride
would still be alive if he hadn't made that movie. We don't know.
Oh my God, that's a twist.
We won't.
We could really go down. Like, where's my tinfoil?
Yeah, we could go down. We won't. We know you want to hear about the book, but we could.
That's where we're going to stop for today. We'll be back tomorrow with the second half of Girls with Bad Reputations. Heaving Bosoms is produced by us, Melody Carlisle and Sabrina Bradley. Editing is done by me, Melody Carlisle. Our theme music is by the incredible singer-songwriter Brittany Fonts, and our art is by the ultra-talented author Kate Pryor. If you like our show, remember to follow us on your favorite podcast app, rate us 5 stars, and leave a review. That one small action is a huge way to help the show. If you want to get in touch with us for advertising inquiries or anything else, you can email us at heavingbosomespodcast@gmail.com. If you want more of us, visit patreon.com/heavingbosomspodcast. You can also find us on Instagram at Heaving Bosoms, on TikTok at Heaving_Bosoms, and in our Facebook group, the Heaving Bosoms Geriatric Friendship Cult. See you tomorrow.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.